Hi, Creative Playlist family. This is Inji.
And this is Ghalia.
And we're so excited to welcome you to the first episode of our podcast series, the Cherries Podcast. So, everyone asks us, how did we meet? And how did this whole curated playlist world come about? So, how did we meet? Because both of us have like our own version of how this came together.
It's a really funny story, but basically I was living in London and I didn't have a job. So that's when I saw an internship opportunity at Net-a-Porter and I was like, okay, I need to apply and it's in Dubai. So I applied and you were the one managing the role. And then I interviewed and then I bombarded you and then you brought me on.
Yes.
And that's how we met.
Yes, so Ghalia joins Net-a-Porter, Yuke's Net-a-Porter group here in the Middle East. I don't even remember how long ago this was. And it was an instant click and synergy between us, I feel, at work. And then it was 1 year, you left, life moves on. We weren't even, in each other's peripheral vision.
Yeah.
And then you had your brand, Ray the Label, you were participating in pop-ups. My mom launches her brand. Randomly, I see that you're venturing into the pop-up world.
Yeah.
So I give Ghalia a call. The initial idea was just to have my mom's brand participate in whatever you're going to start.
I remember that.
Yeah, and like 2-3 hours later, I remember Ghalia calling me, or maybe the next day, and she was saying, Inji, why don't you, let's do this together. I have this idea and we should come together, and we work so well together. And honestly, the rest is history. We sat together and now Curated Playlist came up and it all happened so fast.
Yeah, it's been amazing because it's not only just a pop-up business for us. It's like we're also going into different streams. For example, our website, which we're launching soon, and now our podcast. And we have so many ideas as well that we can't wait to show you guys.
100%.
So it's been really, really exciting. And we also felt that the pop-up business in the GCC kind of lacks let's say a lot. So for example, I have my own brand and she has her own brand, and we felt that some pop-ups are either very too European or too Arab. So we just wanted to have that mix, and also curating the really, really cool brands, because generally, like other pop-ups, we do feel it's always the same brands
100%.
coming again, and it's always the
100%.
same thing. So it's not really new.
Yeah, 100%. I think there was a bit of inclusivity element missing with onboarding all different types of brands, no matter how big or small you are. And retail, like for anyone familiar with retail, or the retail world here in the Middle East, focuses on a select few, and you need to have your connections, you need to have what we call in the Middle East wasta, to really have that exposure piece when it comes to retail. And we wanted to seep through that mentality and really offer everyone an equal exposure, the best type of tools through the pop-up.
100%.
And again, as you perfectly said, it's not about where you come from, what you're offering, as long as it's something quality, as long as it's something that will offer the customer something different. That's what we really wanted to bring together in the best way possible. And going back to the idea of broadening the business, it was never going to be just another pop-up business. We really wanted to create a full community with so many different verticals and channels to support the brands that were going to be with us. So how do we give you online presence, digital presence through digital ads, through the right marketing tools, the right PR tools, and on top of it then the brick and mortar space, even if it's for a limited amount of time with the pop-ups. Okay, so the second question that we always get asked as co-founders is, how did we come up with the name Curated Playlist, and then how did the very famous Cherries now come into place?
So basically, when we came up with the name Curated Playlist, it was just the idea of curated, was just a curation of brands. And Inji and I also love music a lot. We always literally sit and cruise for hours and just listen to music. So Playlist was just having different genres, but instead of music, turning it into retail. So it was just kind of a nice mix and a nice name to have.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so funny because now Curated Playlist is, I feel it's my last name and Ghalia's last name. Everyone knows us as the Curated playlist girls. The cherries, everything in life, you have the cherry on top.
Yeah.
And people sometimes say that in a negative way, but with us, it's the positive side because it's a cherry on top of the cake that we build. And what's so nice right now, I don't know what they call it. It's not the Mandela effect. It's some type of effect where you see cherries everywhere. And I swear, ever since we introduced our cherries, we see cherries on clothes, on accessories, on charms. And it really brought such a beautiful aesthetic like piece to our pop-ups.
It's really funny because yesterday when I called you, I was like, do you feel like we made cherries a thing?
Yeah.
Literally, like we see it everywhere now.
Literally, the cherries all over. So yeah, and definitely curated has been our cherry on top to everything, to be honest.
So how cool was it that curated playlist entered your life in that like specific moment of time?
I know you know this because we talk about this all the time, but curated quite literally saved me during this time. I was wrapping up almost 10 years of corporate, and my mindset was very corporate, climb the corporate ladder, become successful corporate-wise, and that's all I knew. And to me, if someone told me like the year before we started curated, you're gonna open your own business or do your own thing, I would have just laughed. It wasn't at all like my goal. So when it came to me, I was actually feeling this restlessness of I want to do something different, I want to do something new, and I knew I didn't want to stay in the same industry I was in, which was such a scary concept. I feel like so many people feel that. I've been doing one thing for so long, how can I even put myself elsewhere? Will I be able to succeed? Will I be able to even have the skill set for it? And around that time, curated happened and our conversation that we spoke about happened. And I just felt that, okay, this is where I can really soar and where I can really find this new chapter of my career. But also on a personal level, like girls and they're like going between their 20s to their early 30s will really understand this. It's so hard because you're trying to figure out your place in life in general, with your friendships, with your relationship, no matter what your relationship status is, just in life. And curated gave me a home base. It was my base. Like I go here and then I can hit the other bases of life. The friendships that are changing, my relationship status was also changing, and I just felt this need and this draw to be in somewhere that felt safe, and it was almost like my baby. And I feel like it lasted this way, where curated is my baby. Like I go to it. I remember, by the way, funny story, when I was now in Egypt with my mom, and I went to the doctor, he was saying something, and my mom was so worried about me, but the only thing I was worried about was curated. I'm like, who's going to raise curated with Ghalia, you know? And this is how I feel about curated. It's our little baby, it's our home base, and it really saved me in a lot of ways, to be honest. It's yeah, alhamdulillah. How about you?
So for me, I think it was just a moment in time where I was just going through personal problems with my relationship, which didn't end up working out. And then also the fact that when my father cut me off financially to kind of pursue my career and make something out of myself, because at the end of the day, to be honest, I was being very lazy back then. And I think everything that was happening all at once kind of changed my whole perspective in life, that because, you know, we're Arabs, you know, once you get married, once you have a family, like the husband is usually the caretaker, the provider. Whereas in my mind, actually, and in my father's mind, I was brought up in a way where, you know, the husband or the father or whatever shouldn't actually be the sole provider. It's like 100%. Once you reach a certain age, you have to make something out of yourself. And then I think when I entered that door of launching Ray the label with my mother and then kind of seeing its success, I always wanted to branch out and do other things. And it's really funny because we are also talking about another business in G&I, which inshallah will happen in the future, but this one is a secret for sure. But yeah, just kind of opened up my eyes to success, creating wealth, creating meaning in this world,
100%.
Which obviously I didn't have before. And this has been super, super, super important for me. I think this like is number one for me.
I think it was like an altering point to your whole life. in your own right, and for me as well, it was just a whole new chapter, genuinely, and it's just been hitting the ground running since, in every aspect of life, not just business. So this part is something that we both got asked a lot, which is, how is it, especially when we first started running Curated Playlist or introduced Curated Playlist, what's it like running a business with someone who's also your friend? So
there's like, we want to kill each other every day. Like, no, we literally fight all the time.
Yes.
She wants to smash my head, I want to smash her head.
100%. So listen, this whole idea of rainbows, butterflies, it actually takes a lot, but there is a base that we continue to establish again and again and again, which is one, respect. And we both remind ourselves of that, which is when someone is your friend, you tend to get very unofficial, or it's okay, whatever else. Like, we can pass this, we can meet that time, but actually later. So respect is really something you have to tap into in everything, in punctuality, in tone of voice, to a person who's now you're switching from, I'm seeing Ghalia as my friend to Ghalia as my business partner, to how do I listen to my business partner's needs and wants for this thing that we're building together and creating together, where they feel heard and they feel answered as well from my end, and they feel that I'm progressing in a way that helps them reach their own personal vision, and vice versa. So I think respect was a very big one. And again, when you're friends with someone, it's very unofficial. Friendship in general, that relationship is unofficial. When you put that in the sphere of something very business oriented, it's very different, and you have to shift your mindset to that. But the beautiful thing is, and I honestly, like, I'm so grateful to you for this, really, because I feel, and this is something I really wanted to touch on in our first episode, I couldn't wait to say this, but you honestly need, I'm having like a Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper moment, where she said you need one person in the room to believe in you, and people like made her a meme. But that resonated with me so much, because by the time I was leaving the business I was in, the corporate job I was in, I remember calling you, and when you were telling me, Inj, we can really do this together, I kept telling you, what will people say? Like, when the industry people come, they will say, oh, like, you don't have a full-time job, you're just doing this now, how are you sustaining yourself? And it really used to worry me a lot. And you remember this, and your sense of belief in me as a person, not just on a work level, but on a personal level, to be able to build this thing we're building, went such a long way. It quite
same here.
Literally, it made me stand on like my 2 feet, being grounded in the fact that I have one person by my side who's a friend, and who's a genuine friend in the sense that they believed in me even in moments where I didn't believe in myself. And your voice was really like my subconscious, I'm not kidding, because so many people were saying no. Like, anyone who's applying for jobs will know, no matter how established you are and how senior you are at the job you left, you have a hard time applying for other jobs, reaching out to people. So when I was going through all of that, while we were initially building Curated, your voice of we got this, you got this, Inji, like individually, went such a long way. And I genuinely believe if it wasn't for a true friend giving me that support system, this wouldn't have worked. So that's the beauty of running it with, with a friend. Yeah, love you.
Me too. And also, I want to just point out on your question that we come from different backgrounds. Like, you grew up here, I grew up in London and Lebanon. So kind of our minds are different. Even your corporate work, it was different than mine.
Yeah.
So kind of mixing these two personalities together, it was hard at the beginning, but then we kind of found the middle ground, and we continue to do so.
Yeah.
So just the most important thing I would say is always listening to each other, having like understanding towards each other.
Yeah.
And that will always like help the business and inshallah like continue to grow.
100%.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, we have our upcoming pop-up happening on May 23rd and 25th and May 30th to June 1st.
Yeah.
One Zabil, and it's this summer pop-up, and we have amazing brands joining us. So we're super excited on that. But I also wanted to touch on the point, like, why the pop-up model?
Yeah. Okay, so pop-ups in general create something that's very anticipatory for people because it's only there for a short period of time. You're not here for something that can last forever and you can just go to it the week after or the month after and you're expecting to see the same. You're actually going for something that's very limited, which goes back to the idea in retail, limited edition, exclusive editions. It's like if you don't get it now, you will never get it again. So we wanted to create this aspirational model, but through brick and mortar. That is kind of from like a psychology perspective, but then from a business perspective, it's so much cheaper for up-and-coming brands, small to middle brands specifically, to pay a small amount of money, but you're essentially building them their shop. You're giving them their marketing, you're giving them their PR, and it's all condensed into the weekend or the 2 weeks or whatever that we're running the pop-up in. So you're offering them everything and more: incremental sales, customer acquisition, brand exposure, PR exposure, all through this limited amount of time, and it's all capped at such a good cost. So any small brand, why wouldn't they sign up to this, you know? Even as our business grows and our costs then grow as a business, and in return it grows on the brand, we're offering them more and more services within that limited amount of time. That maybe, like the other day I was having a conversation with a brand and they were asking, now the price point with Curated has changed. I told her, think about it. Now you're getting what you would be getting with us in 3 days or 2 weekend participation, what you'd be building for yourself across 2 months. And that's actually how I got to onboard her as a brand, because when she thought about it and thought about the deliverables she's getting versus the cost she's spending, our costs are actually 1/3 of that.
Yeah.
But for the same quality, it's just in a short period of time. So from both like a retail business model and from a psychological model for the consumer that comes and attends our pop-ups, it was perfect synergy to run this pop-up thing. And honestly, we're not breaking the mold. Like we never thought by launching Curated, oh, they're the first pop-up ever. It's actually quite a saturated market, the pop-up market.
That's true.
But it was about hitting the right spot. With it. How do I give a super elevated look and feel? How does the aesthetic become so synonymous with Curated that a brand thinks, actually, I want to go with Curated. I want this cherry background. While at the same time offering added values like the best PR agencies, which we always touch upon, like the best digital marketing campaigns. Even when we couldn't afford it, it would be money out of pocket, quite literally, to run digital marketing ads so the brands are satisfied and we are satisfied as a business as well. So I was really tapping into these little hints, spots to give the pop-up model that's existing in the region a whole, honestly, kind of facelift, to be honest. And the Curated playlist.
I like that facelift.
Yeah, and the Curated playlist card never declines. Honestly, you sign up with Curated, you get the best of the best. So I think this is why pop-up is. What do you think?
I honestly think, like, as a brand before Curated playlist, I remember when I first launched Ray, it was very, very hard for me personally to get online sales, for people to kind of know the brand and kind of like to touch the quality, to see the fit. And a lot of people here actually have a lot of questions. So it's better than buying online. So when I used to participate, in pop-ups, it was very, very easy for people to come check the quality, to try on the fit, to meet people, to build networks, connections. Like, oh, this person bought a dress from me, then that person's like cousin will buy another dress from me. So it
100%
me so much in growing my brand. So I would say, like, the success, alhamdulillah, behind my brand is pop-ups in general.
100%.
But obviously, Curated playlist is number one in helping my brand succeed.
100%. And actually on that point, pop-ups deliver word of mouth power. So honestly, like no other thing I've seen, and I've worked in luxury retail 10 years. It's insane to see when you bring people together and I see, let's say, a shirt on Ghalia and I say, I like this shirt. Oh, I just got it from the store around the corner. And then when I leave with it, my girls ask, and it's this whole concept of, or idea of a concept store, which is, people always tell us, it's like, you know, when I traveled, I don't know, to the south of Italy or south of France, and I got this and I got that. from this one store. This is what curated gives, and that word of mouth helps us with the pop-up that's upcoming next, and it's actually what then encouraged me and gave me this push to then launch my own mini brand, because I'm like, if I don't use this platform and tool, like you said, where people can touch the product, can speak about it, women can see each other wearing it, I don't know as a startup business or a retail brand where else I can achieve that. And it went a long way, for example, with industries like fine jewelry. Like the fine jewelry category went such a long way because, and we always see they're the biggest category in our pop-ups, which try to sign up because it's exactly what you said, like the touch, the feel, the look, the quality of the diamonds or the gold or whatever else.
Story behind the product.
100%.
So it's very important that also the consumer knows about it, the story is being told. So it is also really, really nice for the brand to have that platform to say their story.
Yeah, and it's usually the owner or the designer themselves that are selling, and they don't even like to put salespeople at the pop-up. They just like to be there themselves to talk about it. So it goes a long way, to be honest. All of it together equated to pop-up is the best way to be in the region right now.
Yeah, and also on that point, I think a lot of people are getting really price conscious now. In terms of luxury brands, girls especially don't want to be spending 7,000 dirhams or
100%
like on a t-shirt that they're gonna wear for one season and then literally like never wear it again.
100%.
Women especially now, they tend to splurge, let's say on their shoes, on their handbag, on jewelry items. However, on their day-to-day wear, they are more likely to go to regional, local brands that are more price conscious. So it is also very, very nice to have a pop-up platform where they can come and discover these new brands as
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to recognize, you know, going back to what we were saying earlier about running a business with your friend, I think what's nice, you already know on a personal level how that person adds value to the business, because personal goes a long way. And I've always hated when people say it's business, it's not personal, because I swear everything in life, any human interaction you have lies in some personal quality. Do not take that away. That adds a lot to then the business aspect. So I know what you bring on a personal level. You're a caring person, you're loving, you're like all encompassing, you know, I always call you a walking, talking heart. But on a business level, I think it's really important to recognize the qualities in your business partner, to know, like you said, how does that synergy come about at the end. So what would you say are the strengths that attracted you to me as a business partner? And I'll say the same. And sorry guys, this will be a bit of a love fest, so bear with us.
So I know with you that you are a very strong character. You get things done. And I knew this in Net-a-Porter days when we worked together. So this was always something that I aspired to be. And it was something that I always admired about you. And I know that when we have, for example, brand deals, or we want to pitch to a brand, or to basically get one of the biggest venues or so on, I know that when I have you by my side, like, the deal is done. You sell the dream and you make it happen. So like just having Angie by my side, like, I'm not worried at all. Like, we're gonna get it. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever. So like, I never worry that we're never not gonna get the brand or the venue or whatever. I know it's gonna happen with me.
Alhamdulillah.
So that is also something that I love about you, and I'm confident having you by my side in that way. Aside from you being like caring, loving, like sweet, you listen, all these things, but I'm talking about in a business sense. This I feel is super, super strong, and honestly, I don't think I could have reached this far without you if you weren't my partner.
Honestly, likewise. You came with a whole world of operations that guys, I was the marketing girl behind my desk, you know, like I had no idea. On the groundwork is a whole world. Like they always say, the supply chain of any business is the heart of the business, and you're that. Like you, because you run Ray, you have your own brand, you understood the operational side. I remember in like our initial meeting with a contract till today. Like I always rely on you. I'm like, you know how to talk to our contract. You know how to really picture even the measurements of our venue. Like I swear, and you know what's actually so nice? Woman power.
Yeah.
Because that role is usually given to men. Like the supply chain operational side, you're better than operational managers I've worked with. And both of us are bees. Like in Arabic we say عم زن or عم نق. We عم بنق على everybody that we work with till the job gets done. So
Actually, so annoying.
yeah, we are annoying, honestly. But it gets, like you said, it gets the job done, whether from the pitch stage to whichever one of us is more comfortable than speaking in front of like our client or the person we want to pitch to, all the way through to the nitty gritty of standing with like 20 men on site.
Yeah.
Guys, the first time we did our pop-up, I remember going and seeing our first pop-up come to life with the booths built, with everything. Men everywhere with their helmets. And it was like me and Ghalia. And mind you, I'm like 161. So I'm standing there. Ghalia already knows her operational side. I'm standing there like, okay, there are all these men. I need to act like a man now, which is whole feminine, masculine energy thing that women deal with at work. But how do I talk like a boss with these engineers and whatever?
Yeah.
And it is you there and you knowing that part of work way more helped build that confidence, and also the quick learning of, okay, we're gonna stand there, we're gonna be the boss.
Yeah.
Because there are
Delegate.
and there's a team of 20 guys looking at you like, yes boss, what do you need now? And that was like a turning point. So honestly, you added so much to that for me. And now, yeah, when I go and I see our contractor, I'm like, hey buddy, I know you, you know me, we got this. Yeah. So we're going to end this with the whole idea of it's just smooth sailing all the time. It's definitely not smooth sailing. I feel like we've had so many challenges, but also triumphs throughout this year and a half, or a little bit over a year and a half of running Curated. And I just feel that some of our challenges have been conquered already. Some we're still learning how to deal with them day by day. I'll start off with one of the challenges you and I faced, which is really holding our own space and voice and gaining our power, especially in big meeting rooms with big individuals that are way more established than we are, way more confident in their craft just because of the experience or the years of experience they have. And how do you enter a meeting room like that and really not just sell the pitch, but deliver the vision that we have that would then help them meet their KPIs while also maintaining the KPIs that we have in mind for Curated. And I think time and time again, while sitting in a meeting room with a very important individual and really trying to see eye to eye with them and holding our ground to make sure that they hear our voice and they trust in what we're saying, even though we're a much smaller business than they are. And I think time and time again, by creating that relationship with these people and making sure that we're confident in what we're saying and what we're delivering, we've actually ended up with some of the best partnerships we've had, alhamdulillah. So I think it was a challenge initially, and to really learn how to speak to these people was a bit intimidating at first, but now we know how to. And the more Curated grows, the more we learn what to say, and we start understanding characters that sit across from us on that in that meeting room or across the table. You read the person better and you read the room better, and with that you start to mold yourself into what will do well with that person. So I think that's one of the challenges that we might have faced at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. Like it is a big challenge, but like I feel like we are getting better and better each time.
Definitely.
I feel like a challenge also for us is keeping our brand identity.
Yeah.
So when we partner with a venue, they also have their own brand guidelines, the like specific things that they want. And then also as Curated, we also want to have our own specific like brand elements and so on. So it is always difficult to always get like that across to the venue or our partner or so on. However, like just finding that middle ground, like, okay, this venue wants this, we need to align with them on this, and having that in our venue, and then plus having our Curated element. So it is kind of a challenge meeting halfway.
Yeah.
I think. And also another challenge I would say is kind of the logistics of the whole business. So
for sure.
If people don't know, now you know. Inti and I are basically the only ones that run Curated. We do not have any other employees. So basically we do everything from—
We're the middleman.
Yeah. From our suppliers to literally talking to 100+ brands, to
Yeah.
everything. So it is so difficult doing all of that, and we're just two people.
Yeah.
So
The liaising gets a bit difficult at times. Yeah.
So people just see the end product, the end thing, but they actually do not see everything pre.
Yeah.
So it is very tiring, and it is also essential that we do not get burnt out.
Yeah.
And this tends to happen with the both of us, but we always have each other. So when one of us is feeling like a bit burnt out, like the other one will take over.
100%.
So just to be in that mental headspace is also very important. And alhamdulillah, like it is a challenge, but we have each other, so we
triumph each time. I think it's also learning until you have your team that we're slowly building now, because we have our contractor, your PR agency, you have your partners, you have your brands, but slowly when we started onboarding freelancers to come and join the business, it went such a long way, but it also taught us how do we time manage, and as you said, how do we carry the load when the other is unable to carry it. So there has to be that space for mental health with all the logistics that go into building a pop-up of 100+ brands each time. And as the business grows, you have bigger partnerships and brands, as you said, that have their guidelines that you need to adhere to. All of it, manage mental health very well, and we take care of our mental health a lot, but of anyone coming in, even if it's a supplier or whatever, how do we speak to them? How do we hold space for their emotions as well? That goes a long way, which goes back to the point we said, it's not just all business is business, it's not personal. No, to someone who had a hard day coming in and they're a big part of our logistical timeline, I have to watch how this person is feeling and how their capacity is on that day. They might not be able to give me the same capacity week 2, week 3 into running the project. So then I need to, as you said, have that mindset of I'll take that load off of you this week, because I know you can't handle it this week. But it is, like you said, it's like a push and pull all the time, and this is where the challenge is posed. But alhamdulillah, I feel because we care so much about long-term partnerships, whether with our brands trusting us, whether with our suppliers continuously working with us, whether with anyone, that long-term relationship, you start to understand how these people behave and what their weaknesses and strengths are. Even you and I, we know now what is my weakness, what is your weakness, what is your strength, what is my strength. And you start to understand, how do I deal better with these people long-term? And it helps with time management, and then in return, it helps with logistics. So I feel like it continuously is a challenge, but we continuously rise above it to create a triumph. And the triumph is always a successful pop-up or event at the end of the day.
100%. Also,
it works
like
out.
You saying it's always a triumph every time, and it is so true. Like when I look back a year and a half ago, and then I look back at our last event of Ramadan, like I see the huge gap, like in terms of the brands, the setup, the everything has just been much more elevated, and
definitely,
and again, just the two of us. So
definitely.
It is very important that we have each other, and just always being by each other's side and always working towards, inshallah, success.
Inshallah, progress always and always.
Inshallah.
Perfect. So we just wrapped up our first episode of the Cherries Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed this. We have so much more coming up. You can watch this episode on our YouTube channel, and we hope you subscribe to it to see further episodes on our website that's launching next week. And of course, snippets of it for those who have short attention span. We have it on TikTok and on Instagram as well.
And if you guys have any comments or any interesting topics that you want us to speak about, please DM us or leave a comment. We would love to know more. And if you personally also have any questions about starting a business or anything like that, we would love to answer you guys as well.
And with our pop-ups, you know that we have our summer pop-up happening on May 23rd to 25th, May 30th to June 1st, here in One Zaabil in Dubai. And we're planning to expand to Saudi, to Qatar, and all over the GCC, and inshallah, the Middle East. So stay tuned for our upcoming pop-ups. If you are an interested brand, you can register through our website. Again, that's launching next week. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.